Free the dumb, freedom, free the dumb, so that they can speak, yeah. Yeah, this is Nature Ellis representing the perfect balance, Trodclass featuring Ras Dada, talking about Bingi, talking about, of course, Yaga, talking about Oka Van Gogh. Yeah, you know, say a good vibration, seeing to elevate the nation, saying, don't you know, talking about a revolution sound. Keep it locked. Nature Ellis has said that. Zane, perfect balance, Trodclass. Do it.
Yes, sir. So we're reasoning about these things, and we want to talk about a significant occurrence from the other day. A lot of people been talking about it. It made the rounds on the major news agencies and channels, but we really want to highlight it on our side as well, and speak about it towards how it affects us and its implications to our community and the progress that we've seen in this passage of time, you know. So for those who are not aware, we're talking about Assata Shakur. Assata Shakur is a African revolutionary who trod through the realms of the United States of America.
My name is Assata Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans who were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves. I spent my early childhood in the racist, segregated South. I later moved to the northern part of the country, where I realized that black people were equally victimized by racism and oppression. I grew up and became a political activist, participating in student struggles, the anti-war movement, and most of all, in the movement for the liberation of African Americans in the United States. I later joined the Black Panther Party, an organization that was targeted by the COINTELPRO program, a program that was set up by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to eliminate all political opposition to the U.S. government's policies, to destroy the black liberation movement in the United States, to discredit activists, and to eliminate potential leaders. Under the COINTELPRO program, many political activists were harassed, imprisoned, murdered, or otherwise neutralized. As a result of being targeted by COINTELPRO, I, like many other young people, was faced with the threat of prison, underground, exile, or death. The FBI, with the help of local police agencies, systematically fed false accusations and fake news articles to the press, accusing me and other activists of crimes we did not commit. Although in my case the charges were eventually dropped or I was eventually acquitted, the national and local police agencies created a situation where, based on their false accusations against me, any police officer could shoot me on sight.
Well, like we did give a little synopsis of who Assata Shakur was for the benefit of the people who might not be aware of her, you know. I wanted to lead off as well with a quote of hers. So I'm gonna read a quote of her, right? It's a kind of a lengthy quote still. This is the 21st century, and we need to redefine revolution. And revolution with a highlight and focus on evolution. So every time she uses the word revolution, she's also highlighting evolution, which is change, right? Revolution is change as well. So this is the 21st century, and we need to redefine revolution. This planet needs a people's revolution, a humanist revolution. Revolution is not about bloodshed or about going to the mountains and fighting. We will fight if we are forced to, but the fundamental goal of revolution must be peace. We need a revolution of the mind. We need a revolution of the heart. We need a revolution of the spirit. The power of the people is stronger than any weapon. People's revolution can't be stopped. We need to be weapons of mass construction, weapons of mass love. It's not enough just to change the system. We need to change ourselves. We have got to make this world user friendly. User friendly. Are you ready to sacrifice to end world hunger? To sacrifice to end colonialism, to end neocolonialism, to end racism, to end sexism? Revolution means the end of exploitation. Revolution means respecting people from other cultures. Revolution is creative. Revolution means treating your mate as a friend and an equal. Revolution is sexy. Revolution means respecting and learning from your children. Revolution is beautiful. Revolution means protecting the people, the plants, the animals, the air, the water. Revolution means saving this planet. Revolution is love. Assata Shakur. So I wanted to start off
Brilliant.
with that
Yeah, man, brilliant.
quote from her, right? So we can see or get an indication of where her mind is as a person, right? With everything. So how we want to start the reasoning is we want to look at her. She's described as a fugitive, as a criminal, right? So let us look at her run-ins with the law. Let's start off with her run-ins with the law. Brother Dulani, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that clip you played pretty much said a lot, but there's a big piece I was missing, and maybe it may be slightly a little bit deceptive. And I think what I'm about to say, a lot of people may not even be aware of it. Is that as it says, she was a member of the Black Panther Party, and they were big in the community with breakfast program and the whole 9 yards. And then she left the Black Panther Party, joined with the Black Liberation Army. And the reason for that is because she felt that the Black Panther was overly political and not very cultural. They didn't emphasize African history, African culture, African heroes. So they wanted to create more, she wanted more balance between the political ideology and the history and the culture. And the Black Liberation Army added that element to the movement. And also they were connected to the new African Republic. The purpose of the Black Liberation Army was to take the territory of the southern states, like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and even Georgia, and created the new African Republic for African people. Now, eventually, when COINTELPRO caught up with her and they tried to eliminate her and they failed at that. One of the agents got taken out. They take out their own agent and blame it on her. But here's the piece where a lot of people don't realize. She spent several years in prison, and then she escaped in 1979. When she escaped, she went underground in America for about 5 years. She left America in 1984 to go to Cuba. In that clip, she said that she went in 1979, but she actually went in 1984. So she spent
Probably
a lot of time
because of from
underground.
when she's missing. They couldn't find her, but they know she escaped in 79.
Yes.
And the next time them see her was 84 in Cuba.
Exactly. And what it is now, they could not reveal the plans. They could not reveal how it happened. So that's why you don't hear nothing about it. Now that she passed away now, maybe you're going to start hear people talk about that missing part. There was 5 or 6 years where she spent underground, all the safe houses, all those people was involved in keeping her underground until they arranged with the Cuban government safe passage because, Fidel Castro came to the airport to welcome her to Cuba. Say it was high level. And she didn't go alone. It was others went with her too.
The same struggle that Fidel Castro is going through with America is the same struggle she's going through.
Because so she joined.
They're both looking at nationhood and looking at African people as a whole and not themselves.
Yes, so the anti-colonial, the anti-imperialist struggle at the time anti-capitalist struggle that Fidel and the Cuban people was engaging, especially even in the anti-apartheid movement and also the liberation of Namibia and Angola from the clutches of imperialism was essential in those liberation movements. And as a such, Cuba centered themselves in the center of that liberation process. And she tapped into that and she agreed with that process to liberate our lands
Yes, sir.
and liberate ourselves. So yes, so that whole process, yeah, I think when the movie is done about her life, more that will come out. Because
Will
she
come
became a
forward.
symbol.
Hopefully.
She became a
Depending
symbol.
on who deal with the movie.
Yes, I'm sure that we're gonna have to get somebody
Depending
like
on who
Spike
deal with the
Lee or
movie.
somebody on a high level to deal with them type of movie there. Because
Yeah, man.
she
Yeah,
became
man.
a symbol of resistance because the
Yes, sir.
monolithic nature of the imperialist forces was that they were undefeatable. You can't escape from them. You can't defeat them. You can't go around them. They
Mm-hmm.
was too
Mm-hmm.
sophisticated. So we give white
Right.
supremacists all these mythical powers that they cannot be defeated. But here you are,
Mm-hmm.
black people united, the ground, holding the fort, holding the line, and nobody gave
Mm-hmm.
away the thing. Like how many of the plots them was foiled by infiltrators and all those type of people and traitorous
Yes, sir.
people who betrayed the cause. In this case, that did not happen, and she became a
True.
symbol of resistance around the world.
Up to the point of our transitioning, I might add. Up to
Yes,
the
all
point
the
of
way
our
through.
transitioning.
Naturally,
Right.
yes.
And I think I want to identify as well. We talk about her escape from prison, from federal prison, right? I wanna highlight something even before we speak about the escape. I wanna highlight that when she was incarcerated, they put her in solitary confinement in a male prison initially, right? Which was unprecedented at the time. They had never seen a woman be incarcerated in a male prison, right? So when they fought that struggle and won, they had to place her in a female prison, right? But this is when I want to talk about her escape, because when you talk about escape, it seems like this is something that's happening from the inside and they're trying to break their way outside. This event was actually orchestrated by members of the Black Liberation Army to go and take her out of prison. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
I.
these people saw the injustice and said, no, this can't work. And we're not gonna allow that. And them go and take her out of prison, brother. So when she talk about in the court the power of the people, you understand? When she talk about the power of the people. So just imagine how instrumental it would be if we as a people can come together on any issue. Just pick an issue. Just pick one issue that you want resolved or changed and come together around that issue. And look how quickly that those issues become resolved. Any issue at all you wish to resolve. You know, so that is one thing that was significant to me in this event. So we see that, she's, because we know that the tactics of this system is that once people arise as leaders, there's a great effort placed in discrediting these people. So one of the primary things that they use is they use character assassination, right? So that's why they highlight her first and foremost as not a revolutionary, they highlight her as a criminal. And that is something that I want us to bring forward, that she's not a criminal, she's a revolutionary, right? First and foremost. Now, um, we see she transitioned out of this prison experience. She went underground. She went to Cuba. While in Cuba, we see that she did a lot of humanitarian work and correspondence as well, obviously, because she can't really go a lot of places. She's grounded, right? She's grounded. But we don't see a thwarting or a reduction in her efforts towards liberation of her people. We see that she writes an autobiography, which tells her whole story in it, and she expounds on the principles that she holds dear. We see her communication with other agencies that are instrumental in the same struggle towards Black liberation, African liberation. She connects with them and she collaborates with them and she does interviews, she does workshops, she does a lot of stuff where she's still active, even with everything that's going on. But then now, we see the FBI saying, no, hold on, this can't work. So what do? They up the ante. They say, okay, we're gonna put you on the top 10 most wanted now. You were already wanted. Now we're gonna increase your and we're gonna increase the
Increase your
reward.
bounty.
The bounty as well. So they put it up to $2 million US dollars. Now, if the desire or the expected outcome was that somebody would have sell her out, no. Because for $2 million, we go sell you out because that's a lot of money that can change a lot of lives.
People currently less than that.
Right.
But
So when we see
remember,
an action like that, yes,
but
Brother Dulani.
no, I was going to say that one of the important part of this is that, even the SK part of it, up till now, none of those people was implicated, because that was an outside job, not an inside job, as you rightfully pointed out.
Yes, man,
exactly.
yes.
And that shows that African people can unite to accomplish an objective and remain solid. And this idea that, we can't unite, we can't accomplish it. We show in real time what we can do when you have strong leadership and people can trust each other. We can accomplish things. And we go to the grave with that information. So those revolutionaries will go to the grave with that information. Unless they're willing to reveal it post-mortem or wherever. When them gone, somebody release, or it all go.
Or after the expiration of the statute of limitation.
Yes, them just reveal certain things
when
go.
Them can't do nothing about it now, we can tell us, that did go on.
Yes, exactly. And then they provide a blueprint for future generation to sure say these people can be beaten. They give this idea that they can be defeated. And that's what make it become so important, and the whole Black organizing is important because it shows that when we organize, when we hold it to the fort, we can accomplish things. We can achieve progress. Achieve at least our objectives.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So we see this journey of this woman. Recently we've seen coverage of her passing in Cuba. I believe at the age of 78, I think.
Yes.
She passed a couple weeks ago, probably a month or a little over a month ago. She passed away.
September the 25th.
September 25th.
Of this year, 2005.
Yeah, so just a couple weeks ago she passed away. And we saw a lot of coverage about it. Some celebratory because we were in favor of the systematic discrediting of her as a person. We're celebrating this to say, oh yes, we finally got her. But I think that for the majority of African and Pan-African people, we were happy that her sojourn had ended, her exile had ended, but we were not celebrating her passing. We were celebrating her life. And I think that is why we're speaking about her today, because we're celebrating the sacrifice and the effort that she put. Yes, that she put towards the struggle as a woman. You understand? And ever so often we see examples of women who step forward and do things like that. And I just want to say that is one of the reasons why we're highlighting her.
She will be remembered amongst our great African liberators and ancestors, such as Nani, such as Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. Even Angela Davis is one of those that she is in the ilk of. So she will definitely be remembered amongst the ranks of those, honorable ancestors who have contributed, tremendously to our liberation. So yes, definitely.
Yes,
when we write our history, we have to make sure that she is maintained in our history. There's always a chapter on her.
Unblemished.
Yes.
So heal up Assata Shakur, and I mean a real revolutionary. And we have to big up these revolutionary people because one of the things where we as African people struggle with is people who are willing to put them life on the line or give them life to a cause for African people. One of the things that we struggle with, you know what I mean, is not everybody is willing to, you know what I mean, take that risk with them life. You know what I mean? Most African people, that is a trait of African people, we prefer to survive than to live. You know what I mean? So we will stay in any situation, the surviving, you know what I mean, but not really living.
We have been doing it for a long time like that.
For a long
Yeah.
time, you know what I mean?
Um,
You know, we are the survivors, but we need to really learn how to live. You know what I mean? And not just here
Correct.
surviving. And she was
so
one of them revolutionary there
yeah,
who try chart the path for
change the
African
thing.
people to live. You know what I mean? So we have to
Okavango,
big up the real revolutionary them.
revolutionary them.
You
Okavango,
know, yes I.
yeah, no, not to cut the eye, but just to reinforce what the eye is saying, I'm going to read another quote from Asata, just to cement what you just said, right?
Yes I.
People get used to anything. The less you think about your oppression, the more your tolerance for it grows. After a while, people just think oppression is the normal state of things. But to become free, you have to be acutely aware of being a slave. Assata Shakur. Yeah, man. Give thanks.
Sure.
Rise up, Hassan.
Yes I. You see? A connection man, you know what I mean? One
But
people. So we don't even know of that what you said. You know what I mean? We are saying same way.
mhm.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Yeah man.
And it's
So
all related. All
energy.
related.
Energy.
Yeah,
Yeah
yeah I
man.
want
So
to say,
go on, Vingy.
I want to say something too. I want to say, even listening to everything, right? Everything's linked, right? For instance, we talk about poverty in Africa, like how
Uh-huh.
Africans live as far as poverty is concerned. Then we come to Asata, right? And she speaks about revolution and evolution. But what she's highlighting is how all these things change is when human beings change. In all of this, she in her writing in that very beginning when you make that quote about revolution and evolution, it is showing you how she understands what must happen for humanity, not only for African people, She
Yeah, man.
highlights what has to happen, is a
Mm-hmm.
human experience. And
Mm-hmm.
unless that human experience changes
Mm-hmm.
for every human being, this condition will exist in that very opening statement. So everything just linked
Planet repair.
from get go.
And being remember, you know, yesterday we having a reasoning and not even knowing of that code that she was talking about. We were saying that it's one of the saddest thing about we sitting here and talking about black liberation or
Mhm.
Palestine liberation or you know what I mean, whatever the liberation is. The saddest part is that we are here talking about it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We as human beings are seeing another human being as an enemy, are seeing them as, you know, the oppressors are seeing that. You know what I mean? So that's the saddest part. We are here
yeah.
as human
We
being
not
talking
moving.
about other
We
human being.
stuck. We
Yeah.
stuck.
So
We not moving.
what
We
you
not
say is right.
advancing.
We need a
Yes.
human, you know what I mean, revolution for humanity
Yes,
to
yes.
change and be better towards human beings. You know what I mean? Because we
Mhm.
shouldn't be here still talking about Caucasians oppressing us or Europeans doing this or whatever we're talking about. We shouldn't be here talking about that. We should be living, just living as human beings trying to survive.
Yes. And it's not supernatural, it's all natural. You is systematic. It's people that's
Yeah.
creating the system that is causing the impoverishment, the inequality, most of the problem that we have today is all man-made. I mean, the reality is that one man alone can have $500 billion, and we got millions of
Brother
people
Dulani.
suffering in the world. That is
All
unacceptable.
you stop here, Brother Dulani. I need to remember, and the viewers need to remember that when this was happening, it was a period, it was a very, very dark period in America where black people was under oppression.
Internationally.
Yes,
Internationally.
No justice.
yes, yes.
No justice.
And
I think we need
the,
to
the, the,
highlight
the,
that.
the, the sanctions for them are their end game is death for them, basically, and imprisonment for them and torture for
Yes.
them. Those were the things that they were going through, our people were going through. And these are the things that the resistance was farmed about and the resistance was putting up about. So people have to remember the struggle that we were going through as a people. And her fight was not a fight for herself, despite all the charges, despite all the struggles she was going through. Her fight was for African people, because if African people are free, then she herself is free because she's an African also.
Brother Dulani,
Exactly.
you said something about
Yes,
the
sir.
wealthy a while ago, right? You said something about the
Yes, sir.
wealthy a while ago. So I'm going to read another quote from Asata
Mm-hmm.
as she talks about that.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I have declared war on the rich who prosper on our poverty, the politicians who lie to us with smiling faces, and all the mindless, heartless robots who protect them and their properties. Asata Shakur.
Not change
So,
from
yeah.
that time till this time.
Nothing
So no,
changes though.
and to add to that, what you say, my brother, about we have to understand the political and economic environment that was that she operated in at that time. And if you look at the global African condition, we was catching hell all over Africa. We was catching hell. The imperialist forces was arming the enemy of African liberation to the level, to the nth degree. In
Yeah, man.
America,
Yeah, man.
black people were suppressed. Every
Central
organization,
America,
every movement
all
was
over.
under pressure, all over. So it was a conscious, intentional decision when you pick up the mantle of liberation and revolutionary fighting that you're putting your life and your freedom on the line. You know, see, because it was a global attack against African people and African freedom during that time. And you remember, it was an anti-colonial struggle, it was an anti-apartheid struggle, it was an anti-imperialist struggle. In the East, the Asiatic struggle against imperialism was going on. In Africa, it was the anti-colonial struggle. In America, the domestic colonial, anti-domestic colonial struggle, anti-imperialist struggle, the civil rights movement. All of that was going on at that time.
Sexist struggle.
Yeah, the sexism, all those things was going on. And so, for them to come out in that time, and fight, it take a lot out of you as a human being, a lot of strength. And I tell you,
All right.
me personally as a human being, when I was trying to find myself, because we don't learn these things in school, we didn't learn these things from our parents. It was my journey in reading that exposed me to Assata Shakur. When I started reading biographies, and I started reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I read the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, and the autobiography of Assata Shakur, these biographies helped to shape my ideological development and let me understand
Yes, sir.
imperialism and let me understand myself and center myself within the anti-colonial struggle and the black liberation movement and eventually to Pan-Africanism where I sit right now. So, she helped to nourish me and let me understand that these
Yeah.
people were my enemy because there was a time when I may have been under the illusion when I was unconscious that these people was justice and equality and they was all for
Yeah,
the
man.
humanity
Yeah,
when
man.
they was the very opposite. These people was the exploiters of
Yeah, man.
humanity, the enslavers of humanity, the colonizers of humanity. And so I had to break myself away ideologically from the spell of the illusion of capitalism. So they helped to open my
Yeah.
eyes to the reality of what this world is about, this political economy of capitalism and imperialism and the neo-colonial governments from around the world. She was responsible for helping me to see clearer the reality of my life.
Well, let me read
I just
another
want to put
quote.
that on
I'm going to
record.
put two quotes based off of what. I'm going to put two quotes because of what you just said, right? The first one is, no one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. I'll say it again. No one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes. If they know that, that knowledge will help set you free. No one's going to do that, right? And the second
Share.
one is, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We have
Share.
nothing to
Nothing to
lose
lose
but
but a
our
change.
chains. Yeah?
Share.
So, yeah.
Mm. Yes, man.
You know,
Powerful,
so
powerful quotes, you know.
yeah, man. So it bring now, cause we had a serious reasoning yesterday, right? So we're looking at
First day.
the
First
first
day.
day. We're looking at the progression of this drama unfolding from her criminalization to her incarceration to her emancipation to her exile, right? And we're looking at, while all of this is happening, the natural progression of leadership in the country is progressing as well. We're having leaders coming about until here comes our first Black president, Barack Obama, right? So my position is that Barack Obama, being the president, upon the completion of his tour of duty as president, he's given the capacity to pardon, exonerate, what do they call that one again?
Political
When
prisoners.
they reduce the sentence of certain people, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Clemency.
Communication.
So commutation, right? Commutate, right? So I was putting forward that people like Assata Shakur should have been pardoned by Barack Obama upon the completion of his presidency, for the basis that she was a political prisoner who still had this over, and this should be removed from our legacy, right? What is your view on that? Let's
We
start with
had
Brother Dulani.
we had different views.
Well,
We can start with Brother
to be honest
Dulani.
with you, my brother, when it comes to imperialist awards and accolades and them thing there, I don't really separate Obama from imperialism, and from capitalist force. He was a leader of the imperialist forces. You know what I mean? So he's gonna operate within the interest of that force. Now, however, we have to look at the nuances of his presidency as a black man in that position of power. Knowing our history, there is certain things you can expect from, well, there's certain things that we would naturally expect from him. And I'm sure he's aware of the expectation and the aspiration of African people, not only in America, but globally, and how he is being perceived. Now, we saw that he never had the courage to exonerate Marcus Garvey. And if he never had the courage to exonerate Marcus Garvey, he's surely not going to have the courage to exonerate Assata Shakur. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always trying to please white people in a sense.
Please.
He's trying to
Please.
appease white
The
people.
evidence has shown that he didn't put the argument on the table.
No.
Yes, even reparation, even the argument for reparation. He didn't even try. He didn't even put the effort out. I even speak it into existence. He even sure say he supported. He was just silent. He just remained dumb and mute. And he's well aware that these things are aspirational for African people in America and globally. And that is the most disappointing part of his presidency.
The
Not that he
token
didn't
president.
accomplish it, not because he didn't accomplish, I didn't bring about reparation, but because he remained silent on it. He didn't even try. And that was the failure of Obama leadership. He didn't even try to speak on behalf of black people. I tried to do anything to help to advance black people. It was
I think
just sad.
Okavango wanted to add something as well.
Yeah.
Yes, my
No, I
lord.
was saying that he didn't want it to be accused of helping black people. You know what I mean? He didn't want him to say, oh, he's just helping black people, he's just helping
Want to play
who
it
look
safe.
like him. He didn't want that
So
accusation to be tied to his legacy. You know what I mean?
it's okay to help every other groups.
Right. So, and every president come help their group. You know what I mean? But he didn't
And
want it.
nobody now say it's unfair and they are focusing on their group.
But they say what they want to say.
Okay.
Because when Trump
supported.
come, the expectation is for him to help the people that put him into power.
MAGA.
help his base.
And that's
And
what
that's what
he's doing.
he's doing,
That's
right?
what he's
So
doing.
when Obama come, people were expecting Obama to help the plight of black people because, you know what I mean? But
It's
he
psychological.
decided to help, you know what I mean?
No,
Skeleton
but
man.
he couldn't do anything other.
Transgenders,
He couldn't
you
do
know what I
anything other,
mean?
guys.
He decided to, by the way, he
Hispanic.
decided to attack African people because he murdered Gaddafi. He was a part of that who murdered Gaddafi. So he attacked African people, and I mean more than to help them. But I want to add to the pardon of that I was talking about of Assata Shakur. I don't think we as African people need our revolutionary people them to be pardoned. We don't need those award. Why? Because they were giving their life going up against the state. Why would we want an award from that state? You know what I mean? And she wasn't in exile. She exiled from what? Exiled from what? What she exiling from? Like this is some utopia that she's in, and they exile. Was living in another country who made her life was better in that country. You know what I mean? Her life was more because she wasn't gonna be locked up or she wasn't gonna be murdered in that country. So she had a better life in that country. You know what I mean? So we don't need them award. Her life was going up against the state. She was trying to create a
I
state
agree.
for African people. So why you need something from that state? You know what I mean? And for Obama, I was saying to the item yesterday, I wasn't expecting Obama to based on as Brother Dulani said, he represent the head of the oppressor. You know what I mean? So you think the head of the oppressors now at that time is gonna be gonna exonerate somebody who go up against the state? I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, man, she's a revolutionary, and we give her the pardon. The pardon is
That's
by
correct.
African people, and we exonerate her. You know what I mean? She's our hero. We don't want nothing from the state. Yes, sir.
But
We
even
canonize her.
yeah
We
earlier
canonize her.
point, right? Even to earlier point that the item made, and you say, hey, Asata was living in Cuba and she had a $2 million bounty, right? By the FBI and the state put together, right? A joint bounty. One of the amazing things when you think about this is the love the Cuban people had for her. She was a
Yeah, man.
public figure in Cuba, you know. The
Yeah, man.
woman lectured. She went to all national events. She was a public figure. And think about this: you in poverty, $2 million, and nobody took that beat. Nobody. It's an amazing thing, you know, the
Yeah,
way the
man.
people
Amazing, man.
embrace her. Yes,
Amazing.
Yo,
that
how
ideology.
I really touch on the Obama issue, you know, because it's a serious one for me. And
It's a
many
serious one for me
people
too.
are proponents of Obama would say that he wasn't able to pass these things in the House because they would have turned it back. They had the majority. But we've seen that other people have done other things, and we've seen where President Obama, has done things for every other community. And I think he should have particularly looked at the mass incarceration of black people in America and repeal the three strike law, which they tend to use and prison a lot of the Americans.
Yeah, man. Real talk.
But he was a token president, and that's what you get from a token president, though. I don't think Obama was this president who, you know, even though he's black and like Okavango rightly pointed out, that people had this expectation that because he's black, he's going to do something for African people in America. But he was really a token president. He didn't do
I need
anything.
to use the word token, Bingy, because token is one.
When I say
I would say
token,
Yeah,
I mean
the
token.
the token label fit him.
Token
The
is
token
the
label
term.
fit him.
Yeah.
You don't
Token
like
is
it,
the
but it
term.
fit him.
Token is
Alright.
the term, man. Token is the
I would
term.
say that
Make
it
you
also
only
it was a
token.
it was a symbolism. It was more symbolic presidency.
Yeah,
Because
Yes, man.
one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that the president is there to perfect the system. is to make the system work better and more efficient. So what you're going to get is a more efficient form of imperialism, a more effective form of imperialism. So don't expect to be liberated by this system. And it
So
didn't
he
come
did
with
his
no
job.
policy. It did his job. It didn't come to
He
liberate
did
or
his
to
job.
radically transform the
Yeah,
system
he
and
did
make
his
life
job.
better
That is what
for
they
the
need to
African
admit.
people.
That is
You know what
what
I'm
they
saying?
need to
But
admit.
we as revolutionary, as liberators, as conscious people have to be aware of that. That we cannot expect the leadership of the system that we're trying to radically transform to come and help us and support us and liberate us. We cannot, and Asata said that much. We can't expect them to come liberate us. We have
As
to liberate
Assata
ourselves.
Shakur has said,
Yes.
we can't
She want
expect them to educate us.
she wants to say something
And
else right now
I want to
too.
correct myself. I said something a while ago. I need to correct myself. I said Obama. People were expecting him to help his people, but he helped gays and transgender. I want to correct. I want to take that back because I don't really know his people. Maybe he was helping his people. So, and I mean, yes,
Right.
Asata has something else to say.
Correction taken.
yeah.
Asata has something else to say. No movement can survive unless it's constantly growing and changing with the times. If it isn't growing, if it's stagnant and without the support of the people, no movement for liberation can exist, no matter how correct its analysis of the situation is. That's why political work and organizing are so important. Unless you are addressing the issues people are concerned about and contributing positive direction, they'll never support you. The first thing the enemy tries to do is isolate revolutionaries from the masses of people, making us horrible and hideous monsters so that our people will hate us.
Yes, I agree
Yes, sir.
100%. And I think that the Pan-Africanist movement went through that process where we became stagnant, we became isolated and outdated. And it's only now the fresh blood now is coming back into Pan-Africanism. And now with the new media, we can now bring Pan-Africanism forward and show when people look at
To the forefront.
the ideology is pristine, as the sister said. If you look at it, the
Mhm.
demand for our liberation is correct. Our analysis of the system is correct.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow we have been
Situation
painted
is
as
correct.
monsters. We have been painted as monsters and we painted as them other us, and make us look like we are on the
Mm-hmm.
outside and as if we are opposed to
Mm-hmm.
prosperity. We are opposed to you driving your BMW and in your fancy house. But what we're saying to you, remember there's millions of our people living in squalors, living in absolute poverty that we have seemed to have forgotten about. And I think the language needs to upgrade, be able to, excuse me, to be able to highlight the condition and to make the connection between our historical injustice and the systematic arrangement that is causing the impoverishment that we see existing today and demand systematic change. And I think we have to find the language to articulate that in various forms. And that's one of the things I am struggling with. And I'm going to try to work on to make that more palatable and slowing it down a little bit. Because sometimes the high concept, people cannot readily grab the high concept. But if you can break it down,
Mm-hmm.
slow it down, and show the small steps them that can be done, how the things can be changed.
Yeah, man.
And if you look at a situation where a family can be helped with just a small amount of money, imagine if you have millions
Mm-hmm.
and billions and you can extrapolate how we can help.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to start with that
Yeah, man.
small example and show you look how easy it is to transform these people's lives. You mean even tell me
Yeah,
say we are
man.
the only one that sees this? We are the only one that sees this?
No, we're
All right, my
not.
brother.
We're not.
Exactly. So these
Lauren
are
Hill
some of the
do a song,
challenges that we have.
face. Yeah,
Mhm.
man. Lauren Hill do a song, where she said, everybody knows that we're guilty, Everybody knows that we're guilty. You get me? So it's not a secret, everybody know, but like Asata says, because we've been in this oppression so long, we feel as as if it's the norm. We feel
We have
like, oh,
normalized it. We've
there's no
normalized
other
poverty.
option.
We normalized inequality. We normalized
Mhm.
exploitation. We normalized
Yes, sir.
billionaires and no people talk about even trillionaires now. We accept these things as normal. There should be no
Yeah,
billionaire as
man.
long as people are in poverty. As long as there are homelessness and hunger on this planet, there should be no billionaire on this planet. Once we solve the problems of
Not even
humanity,
millionaire.
then we can talk about that.
Mm,
See, we can even entertain
yeah,
that.
so.
See, we
Yes,
have
I.
to structurally deal
Yes, I.
with this problem of inequality. See, and
True.
exploitation and
Yeah, man.
historical damages that has been done. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all about repairing. And that's why the Pan-African movement have to center in repairing the mind, repairing the philosophy and the thinking of the people, and repairing our family, repairing our community. We have to focus on repairing the whole person
Yes,
on a
I.
holistic level. See, from the school to the medical treatment of our people, to the housing, to the food supply, to the engineering. We have to repair that relationship where we can have a holistic solution. Because as Rasdana says, if we don't do that, we're going to end up in the same position again. If you provide the care for the person, if you provide the house for the person, and you don't repair the person, you're going to end up right back in the gutter.
Yes, I. Systemic problems require systemic solutions, you know?
Systemic solution, yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Systemic problems require systemic solutions, you know?
And because the game has been rigged, the whole economic system has been rigged against us. And that's why we have to overturn it. And that is the message that imperialism don't want to acknowledge and want us to be aware of. That they have rigged the game against us, that our development is dependent on their mercy, dependent on them giving us some kind of charity, some kind of loan that we have to go to them and beg when they are taking our
Yes,
resources
I.
now and giving them back to us in crumbs. That's my lord. I land my
True.
case right there.
Yeah, man. You know, so we just want to celebrate the life of Sister Assata Shakur. And we want to just say that, you know, to the revolutionaries who have fought, we appreciate your sacrifice, and we promise to not let that sacrifice go in vain. Through our lives and through our actions, we are going to do our best to keep this struggle going. You know, it's important that we commemorate these people, and we show that these people's service is not noted. Yes. So I'm saying that it is important for us to know that these people's service is immortalized. That
Yes.
no matter how many generations from now, generations can come and remember that there was Sister Assata Shakur. People people can come forward generations from now and remember that there was a Marcus Garvey. They can come forward and remember that there was a Haile Selassie. There was you name any of these ancient revolutionaries, their service should be commemorated and immortalized and forever be recorded and passed down from generation to generation through the people who are oppressed, right? So I'm going to close the reasoning by reading a final quote from Sister Assata Shakur. We're taught at such an early age to be against the communists, yet most of us don't have the faintest idea what communism is. Only a fool lets somebody else tell him who his enemy is. Only a fool lets somebody else tell him who his enemy is. And I think that says it perfectly.
But that statement is a very powerful statement, because oftentimes we allow our enemy to define to us what is freedom, what is
Who is
oppression,
our enemy?
who is our enemy, and who is our friend. And we have to be the one who define what freedom is to us. Because whether we accept it or not, we are communal people as African people. The European came and
Yes, sir.
found us in a communal state of existence. We believe that the land belongs to everyone. We believe that everyone should be fed, should be housed, should be taken care of. We don't believe in an individualistic world. That's not the society we came out of.
And
But we have
everyone
believed
have a role within the structure of that family or
in
that
society to
clan or that
exactly.
nation.
So our communal existence was our existence, but we have been indoctrinated to believe that individualism and capitalism and exploitation is a better way of life. And they use that and they weaponize that against us. to turn us against the true revolutionary who are talking about let's go back to communalizing the land and communalizing production and take care of everyone. He seems to be in opposition to the billionaire concept of the world. Unfortunately, we cannot apologize for that. That is a part of the revolutionary consciousness that we have been told to be afraid of and to reject. And we have to be bold enough to say, listen, we know that you are the enemy. You know that you are the deceivers who are exploiting us and keeping our people and our grandparents them in abject poverty all over Africa and the Afrobia right now today. Even in South America, because we are globalized this thing.
We have this
Real
thing
So we
talk.
give
as
so
black
we give
as
thanks
black
to
people.
Yes,
I was saying
Okavango.
we give thanks to Assata Shakur and all those great revolutionaries, and I just want to put that on record for their contribution, for their
Yes,
inspiration,
sir.
for resistance against imperialism, and for helping to open our eyes. I want to give thanks to for their life.
Shit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was adding to what Brother Dulani was saying that we have this habit of accepting these heroes that was given to us by our
Mm-hmm.
enemy. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And it's always this the sellout who are their friends. They say, okay, this is your hero.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some little thing that they want to make magnificent that they do. And we hug up these people as heroes. You know what I mean? But we have to look into those things and find out who is our real hero. People like Assata Shakur who was, you know what I mean, risking their life or giving their life for the
Yeah, man.
freedom of people, not somebody who sit down and sell out. You know what I mean? And they put on this
Mm-hmm.
pedestal and give them some titles and say, okay, this is the best ever. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have to look upon
Mm-hmm.
them. Then people we see the oppressors heal as great, we have to look at them very
Carefully.
keenly. You know what I mean? Yeah, yes, sir.
True. True.
Come on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we have some good examples. We have some examples right here in the UK. We have some examples of that. Well, that's another story for another time.
Me have a quote, you know. Me always say it all the time, and people say maybe someone me hear from, but me think I me make up it. I me come up with it. What me always say, my hero cannot be the friend of my enemy. Yeah, man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a good one. That's a
We
good
just have to
one.
say, we want the people them to take off the handbrake and just look at the issues that are affecting us from a historical perspective. Understand what they are dealing with and what they are doing, and just find themselves and know, say, right, yeah, so is where the struggle is, and at this are the struggle you're supposed to fight for. So the third class, I keep the fire burning, keep the fire blazing.
Bingy, I wanted to seal up
Sorry.
with something.
Well, I want to say in all of this that there's this lesson, right? And one of the lessons is you have to have support for this thing to keep moving forward, right? And as Asata has identified in his struggle, if you don't have support, what happens is it's fade away. Not only did
Mm-hmm.
she make that distinction and what support's supposed to do for your movement and your revolution
No.
and your revolution, even Cleaver from the Black Panthers Party,
Mm-hmm.
he made that same distinction. He too said that if you don't have support, this thing dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we leave here with today is that for this thing that we talk about, this revolution and evolution, it must have support. People must be able to understand what it is for the fire to keep blazing, for the
Mm-hmm.
fire to keep burning. People must have the understanding of what it is. It means more work has to be done
True.
because we're going to be speaking about this here 50 years from now, having the
Hopefully,
same conversation.
hopefully not.
So one of the things is people must become more aware. And again, that revolution and evolution happens within human beings. And she's constantly pointing to that. Asata is constantly pointing to that evolution and revolution. So we now have to sit down and pay attention to what is actually happening around us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to stop politicizing stuff. We have to live as human beings, take the human experience out of it, right? Because that is what it is, the development. Because this woman that we highlight today, Asata, this human being, Assata Shakur, that is what her evolution and revolution culminates to, human development. In all of this, for this to work, we need to have real human development. We have to move out of the state that we are stuck in. This speech that we keep turning round and round and round and round. Our advent is not 360 degrees, it's actually a straight road. 360 degrees means you're going in a circle. That is not the completeness. The completeness is forward. And that is where we must move. People have to listen. They have to understand the environment. They have to understand who they are. And that's why we are here, right? We are here that we can participate in
180 on a
helping
straight line.
people understand that.
Anyways,
Iron sharpen iron. Yeah,
Yes,
man. Give
sir.
thanks for life.
Yes, sir. Give
I
thanks, man, for the
noticed
moment.
I said the perfect balance, Trodclass. I don't know, see a Chuck for the living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them see a life over death. I swear, said I will never switch. Keep the fire burning out. Holy Manuel I Selassie, Jah, blazing fire.